we're ready to start. Ryan and his friends.
Gentlemen, it's time for Podcast Party Episode 2. Now give it up for your host, John Merrick.
Back. Thanks for coming third row.
Yeah, thank you.
And beyond.
Yeah. Hey everyone, my name's Jar.
Yeah, my name's Janera.
We are Jardinera, and this is a podcast party.
That's right. Like any good podcast, so we gotta get started with a quick ad before we do anything else.
You want me to read it?
About that, actually, you don't have the best ad reading voice.
What are you
So,
talking about? You saying I don't have a good ad voice?
yeah, exactly. You guys don't want to hear Jake doing an ad,
You
so.
want to hear this one?
Boo, yeah, boo. Instead of Jake, we've got a voiceover artist, very famous. If there's any management out there, I can't see in a big crowd, but you might want to sign this guy.
Hey, I have the ad copy.
Oh, you have the ad?
I have the
Yeah.
ad.
All right, give it up for Kurt, ladies and gentlemen. Why don't you come up here and read an ad? Kurt's gonna read an ad. Give it up for Kurt, I'm leaving.
Kurt.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Modelo Especial. Modelo Especial is brewed as a model of what good beer should be. This rich, full-flavored Pilsner delivers a crisp, refreshing taste. It's simply not a podcast party without Modelo. If you like what you see tonight while you're drinking your Modelo, this is a pay-what-you-can theater. So Venmo @PackTheater with the promo code PodcastParty. Again, that's @PackTheater with the promo code PodcastParty, or drop some cash in the jar on your way out as you throw out your empty Modelo cans in the trash. If you drink so much Modelo that you need to relieve yourself, please do so 2 doors down in the complex. Now tech booth, play that music.
Oh my god.
There we go.
All right.
All right, who wants some Modelo? Free beer for everyone. LA's finest. Great podcast host. There you go, buddy.
All right, give it up for Kurt, the ad man.
Curdy boy.
Isn't that voice is smooth like Modelo Especial?
Oh boy, is it.
Yeah. Should we explain the premise of the show here? We just had to thank our corporate sponsors.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is Podcast Party. We're going to have 3 different podcasts come out and do 15-minute sets of their existing podcasts, and should be a good time. Just sit back and enjoy your Modelos.
Yeah, we've done enough ads, but thank you, Modelo.
Yeah.
Also, you forgot a crucial part of the show.
What?
If there's time at the end, we're gonna be doing a Q&A.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, can't forget the Q&A.
Well, I'll tell you what, I got a hot cue right now.
What's that?
Should we get this podcast party started?
Sounds like a cue for the A.
What do you think,
what do you think, audience? All right, let's get this podcast party
Let's get
started.
started.
So this first podcast, well, actually, before I get into that, one reason I like this show, there's a lot of podcasts out there that are just waiting to be discovered, and a lot of times I come across them and I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting, and then I just don't listen to it, Kind of like all the people who saw this Facebook event for this show and were like, oh, that sounds interesting, and then didn't show up.
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah.
But you know who did show up is a guy by the name of Kevin Noonan. Very funny, very famous performer at Place Theater.
Yeah.
And he's going to do a podcast called Oh, that sounds interesting.
All right, so give it up for, oh, that sounds interesting.
Oh, this is fun, huh? You know, a lot of podcasts, they get deep into people's backstories, and I just don't have time for that today. So we're going to skip right to the plug section in this podcast. But before we do that, a couple ads for the podcast. Oh, That Sounds Interesting is brought to you today by Hershey Chocolate. Do you hate your dog? Try Hershey. Oh, That Sounds Interesting also brought to you by Audible, the audiobook platform. Do you wish people would ask you where you went to college? Try Audible. Mission Flour Tortilla is also a sponsor. Why are you pretending to like corn tortillas, you weak little baby back piece of shit? Mission Flour Tortillas. Use our exclusive promo code. It's not racist to like flour tortillas anymore. Oh, That Sounds Interesting is also brought to you by your hometown. Your hometown, it's nice this time of year, but also lonely sometimes. Visit your hometown. This ad was paid for by your mom. Podcast also brought to you by generic Tylenol. It's the same stuff, we promise. And finally, this podcast is brought to you by Heinz's Spicy Ketchup. Ketchup. It's not just for kids anymore. It's spicy. Heinz's Spicy Ketchup. My name is Kevin Noonan. I'm the host of Oh, That Sounds Interesting. And my guest today is Chase Berman. And Chance, I'd love to get into your backstory, but I just can't today. What I really want to know from you is, you know, why does anybody go on any podcast? You got something to plug. What do you plug?
Yeah, of course. All right, guys. So follow me at Chance Berman on Twitter.
You're on Twitter. That's great.
Yeah, follow me on Chance Berman on Twitter. What else? Chance Berman on Instagram. My YouTube channel, Chance Cooks. And then I've got a new book coming out. It's a sequel to my first book, Cooking with Love. Meals for couples. This is Cooking for One, Dinner After Divorce.
Now that's fascinating, and I feel like there's a lot to dig into, and I just don't have time to do it today.
Sure.
But I did notice there is quite the discrepancy between cooking with love,
right,
and cooking for one.
Dinner After Divorce.
Right. Oh, the subtitle. I missed that. That's so funny. Dinner After Divorce.
It was meant to be more of a, bleak understanding of the nation, the state of the nation. It's not that crazy that people get divorced. About 50% of marriages end in divorce. So
no, I'm actually happily married, so I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Okay.
Right. My wife Trixie, who's a dancer. Now, your first book, Cooking with Love.
Right.
I'm to assume this is a nonfiction book.
It was a book I did with Melissa Phillips now. Dr. Phillips.
Oh, it was from Melissa Berman before.
Right, of course.
And is that now?
It was Melissa Phillips Berman. Now it's just Melissa Phillips.
Is that, and your last name is Berman?
Correct.
Now I went to journalism school, so you guys were married.
Right. We were 10 years of bliss.
Wow. What was the wedding like?
Well, it was a small affair. Something just. Family members, we got food trucks before food trucks at a wedding were a thing.
Wow.
Okay.
Real love.
Okay. Real love. And we had spent 10 wonderful years together.
And I don't want to dwell on this too much because we just don't have time.
Right, of course.
But she looks good at the wedding day.
Yeah, she looked incredible. It was the best day of my life. Preceded by the day that Chance Jr. was born, and then of course Gretchen.
Wow, Chance Jr., that's a boy.
Yes, right, son.
Gretchen is our second child.
Yes, and if you're listening, girls, I will see you next Saturday. Sorry, 3 Saturdays from now. I will see you 3 Saturdays from now.
Wow, that's so interesting because you say cooking for one and you have 2 kids. That leads me to believe that you're just cooking for yourself.
That's right. But it's an informative book for anyone who may be in a similar situation where they just fucked up. They just made a lot of mistakes, and they have to live with those mistakes and cook for one for a little while. So, if anyone else out there is listening, you think this meteoric rise to food stardom is easy, but there are something called a thirst trap on Instagram. And these women, they just message you. And what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Not respond to these messages from these women? And so, Melissa, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. Please.
And that mention of Instagram thirst traps reminds me to plug my Instagram at Delta Funk, which is both my personal Instagram and my Instagram for my jazz folk fusion band.
Oh, great.
The Delta Funksters.
When's your next show?
Oh, that's such a good question. I wish I could look it up. I just don't have time.
Oh.
Now, cooking for one. Now I'm obviously happily married and have a family and 4 children. Gosh, we have our fights sometimes, and they really crack me up.
Yeah, cherish those fights. Cherish
Yeah.
those fights, because the lows, they may be the low times, but it's better than just this neutral blip.
I wouldn't even call it low times. Just very, very happy all around.
Okay.
Now, sometimes, the girls go on a trip, and I'm stuck behind for a day for work sometimes, or I'm playing a show at a local bar, for instance.
Right.
So I'm cooking for myself.
Sure.
Would this be book I could use to cook for one? But remember, just for the one night that I'm putting alone.
Right.
The rest of the time I will be with my family.
I mean, of course, you could use this book for. I mean, it's open to all folks who are, cooking for one. But part of it is I guess it's one part cooking recipes, one part just a warning to all those men out there men and women who don't appreciate what you have, because it can be gone in a second.
I sure do. Now, one other thing I think you mentioned that before, and I apologize to come back to this because we're just so short on time. Is you did mention that every 3 weeks, because you were going to say next Saturday, and you corrected yourself and said 3 Saturdays from now. Now I have lots of weekends where I'm out to a soccer tournament or a softball tournament
For your kids.
For my kids, right? So I'm only with the one of them. So I sort of get what you're feeling like. You spent some time away.
Yeah.
But what was the decision? I guess, and correct me if I'm wrong. I assume it had something to do with the courts. To keep those kids away from you.
Well, I'll be honest with you here. Towards the end there, I developed a pretty nasty addiction to opiates and cocaine, and so there's a video of me, a very real video. I admit to doing this, of me just going at it hard and with the children.
And I think we have the we don't have the clip. You're just gonna have to describe it for us.
Okay. Well, have you seen that clip of Johnny Depp screaming at Amber Heard?
Sure.
Yeah, pretty much just like that. I was attempting to make a moussaka for 4, and one of my daughters said, Dad, don't put so much paprika in there. And I screamed in her beautiful face, Gretchen's face. I said, I'll put as much fucking paprika in there as I want to. But that was the drugs talking, honey, and Gretchen, if you're listening. 2 Saturdays from now, we're going to make moussaka. We're going to make moussaka for 3. We can put as much smoked or sweet paprika in that dish as you want, dear. If you're listening, you bring the paprika, I'll bring the wham.
And I just have to get it back to plugs here. So that recipe for moussaka, that would be in your first book, Cooking with Love.
Right. But there is a recipe for moussaka in Cooking for One, Dinner After Divorce. But it's basically the same recipe as the first one, except the last step is put the rest in a Tupperware container. That's most of the recipes from this book are exactly the same as the first one. I just added the last step, put the rest in a Tupperware container, or knock on our neighbor's door.
Well, I'm sure for a guy like you, some consistency is nice. Now, I don't have time to go through the full 12 steps. We just need to get these plugs and get out. But how did you get sober?
Well, it's been a battle. I tried checking myself into an inpatient program. That didn't work very well. Promises in Scottsdale, Arizona. And a lot of celebrities hanging around those parts.
Yeah, actually, their sponsors actually is actually a sponsor for the podcast.
Oh, Promises.
Promises, yeah. Their tagline, what is it? Oh, it's far enough away that you can't just drive there. So I think that's see your family. Go ahead.
Right, and so I did that about 3 times, $30,000 a pop each time, and they just But the rehab program just does not, isn't very effective when it's a pampering program like that.
Sure.
And then I just ran out of money, just straight up ran out of money, which is also why you should pick up my book, Cooking for One, Dinner After Divorce, because I am currently subletting a couch in West Hollywood.
Now, where can we find this book?
You can find this book, well, it's self-published, obviously. No one really wanted to touch me after that video came out.
And I assume not near a school.
Yep. I mean, these Instagram models, they look so much older than they are.
Oh boy.
So you can just, I'm also not allowed to have a domain address at all. It's the first time in the US court system that I'm sorry, that they've not allowed someone to have a domain name. So you can just email me at chance.berman@hotmail. They shut down my Gmail account. Or also, you can snail mail. Zoom.
And then one more time, the title of your book?
Cooking for One, Dinner After Divorce.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Thank you guys for coming out. Guests to our podcast. We're your hosts.
Thank you. That was interesting. Give it up for that sounds
Give it up.
interesting. Yeah.
We should just go on to the next one, right?
Yeah, let's just get on to the next one. Forgot. We gotta do another ad for the corporate sponsors.
They pay for the show, so.
And there's only one person to do it. Kurt, you wanna come back up here? All right, give it up for Kurt again. Yeah, man. I think that's some industry out here. If you want to sign this guy, and if you need a Modelo, come grab it. All right, here's an ad.
Packing a lunch is tough. Salad is gross. Sandwiches are a hassle. Frozen meals sound great, but always end up disappointing. But what if there was a frozen sandwich, pre-assembled and easy to pick up on the go? Well, there is. It's called a Smucker's Uncrustable. A flavorful, non-hassle peanut butter and jelly sandwich. All you have to do is heat it up in the microwave. Sounds great, right? However, with the growing rise in peanut allergies, we think it's time for a better alternative. That's why we're proud to announce a new product as a part of a bold new strategic partnership, the Hellman's Uncrustable. Now you can enjoy the same great convenience of Uncrustables with the dazzling taste of warm mayonnaise on the go. No fuss, no muss, just tons of hot mayonnaise. It's the way mayonnaise sandwiches were meant to be enjoyed, piping hot. Hellman's Uncrustables. Hell to the yes, we put mayonnaise in the microwave.
That was amazing. Thank you, Kurt. That is just.
Where's Will?
He's gonna be out in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was an interesting ad. I liked it. My only note was it seemed to be geared towards men, and I just kind of want to ask women how they feel about mayonnaise sandwiches, specifically Uncrustables. And actually, I think we might have a chance to ask women, because that's actually the name of our next podcast, Ask Women, hosted by Marni Kinrys and oh my god, I forgot the other person. She's also very funny. Please give it up for Ask Women.
Yay! I'm back.
Alright, hello and welcome to the Ask Women 15-minute podcast, condensed version, where we try to give men the best advice they can get on what women want. And we have Mike with us, and my co-host Kristen, who's in New York and staying up quite late. You are, you're a talking head right now.
Finally,
That's exactly what I've always wanted you to be, so I'm fine with it. But Mike,
Yes.
you're single.
I am Not single.
Oh, you said you were backstage.
I'm newly not single. It's a gray area.
All right.
It's a gray area, yeah.
Well, interesting. So Kristen, so Mike does not use dating apps.
I don't.
Never use dating apps. Never got on a date from a dating app. You are an anomaly.
That's right.
Then how did you become not single?
Well, I just...
How do you do that?
There's
It's
this...
impossible without dating.
Yeah, I've throughout my entire dating life or career, I mostly just go out with people who I hang out with. Like I'm friends with folks first, and then women. With friends with some pals, and then you hang out long enough, and then I'm just like, hey, we should try and do this differently instead of
Yeah, like horizontally.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. Very interesting.
Yeah.
That's very rare. Nobody does it like that anymore
Yeah.
in real life. So
I
this
mean-
is a plus for real life interaction.
Right. I mean, I mostly don't use the dating apps out of fear, so
Correct. I understand.
there's so much anxiety.
It is so much anxiety.
Right.
And what you're doing right now seems so much better because you have a real connection
Yeah.
with other individuals.
Yeah.
So Mike, are you open to answering questions from our listeners?
Absolutely. Would
All
love
right,
to.
Kristen, are you ready? They're long questions, so just letting
Can I
you know.
see you guys? I love the ladies in the front, but I don't know.
I mean, they're so pretty. Why would you want to stare at them? They don't want to look at the back of this computer.
Well, I was looking at now
Alright.
now I just see his hand.
Okay.
Can I?
Oh,
Hi,
I think,
Mike.
here's what we'll do.
Here, yeah.
We're gonna push this back where it is.
I don't want to break
Yeah.
somebody else's laptop. I always break mine. So. Oh, you're gonna give her a mic?
Yeah.
Oh,
Can you try
yes.
talking?
Hey, hi.
That works.
Test.
Oh, I like it. Okay. Now you're
It might work.
well, anyway, okay. So on our show, we have a segment that's called Overanalyze This because we overanalyze the answers to this.
Perfect.
So this is going to take 15 minutes to answer this question. So, hi, I'm Mike. Oh, you wrote it to us.
I did.
A longtime listener and first-time writer. I'm a 24-year-old guy that has never been on a date or been in a relationship. So there's this girl at work that I think is showing interest in me, but I'm not quite sure since I'm not very experienced. We're acquaintances, but not friends, since we work in different departments and we don't know each other that well. A month ago, she asked me if I wanted to go to get Subway food with her, which I thought was strange since I never have seen her out of work. But I was busy and she replied with, damn, I wanted to get some good food. I asked her if she wanted to get food the next day and she says yes. But then, the next day, she came up with some excuse that she couldn't make it, and she never offered to reschedule, so we never got to hang out. A few days ago, a similar thing happened. She randomly said she was bored and asked me if I wanted to hang out with her after work on that day, but again, she didn't really give me any notice. And I had to stay late after work. I offered to hang out the next day. I know you find this hilarious. And she said yes, but again, on the day, she said she was sick and she canceled. She didn't make any effort to try and reschedule, so nothing has happened. I don't.
Okay, I need to cut in here real
Yeah.
quick. He doesn't want to date her if she thinks Subway is good food.
Right, next question then. That's your answer, Mike. Okay, I don't understand her. Why does she say she wants to hang out but then never really follows through? Is she showing interest and is just too shy or something? 2 years ago, I had a similar situation with another girl from university. I didn't know her that well, and she, I told you, the questions are long, which is why we overanalyze them. And she would ask if I wanted to hang out on Friday. I said yes, but on the day, she would come up with something. This is like a children's book. On the day, some excuse to cancel and wouldn't make an effort to reschedule. Then a month or two later, she would ask me to hang out and then cancel on me on that day. Am I just being strung along? Do these girls do it to boost their self-esteem?
Oh,
It really
God.
hurts at my self-esteem because I feel like I'm being played and mocked. Mike.
Okay.
So Mike, you wrote this.
Yes.
So why do you do that?
Well, and again, of a person who is kind of outside of the normal dating pool, it sounds like to me that he's like literally making no effort to connect with her. First, like if she I mean, I'm not going to play armchair psychologist and try and figure out what her motivations are, but it sounds like she's asking to like get lunch or like let's hang out, that she wants to like get lunch on that specific day or hang out on that specific day, and he wants to like, Michael, if you're listening, if you want to like hang out or get lunch, then ask her to hang out and get
And
lunch.
that's exactly what she's doing to you.
Yeah, I don't think that, I mean, for the most part, most human beings in this world don't have like deep-seated manipulative motivations behind their actions. Like, she's not stringing you along. It sounds like she genuinely wanted to eat a $5 disgusting sub with you.
Exactly. That's what I think as well. Kristen, what do you think?
Well, whenever you see those memes that say something about having plans and then being super excited when they get canceled,
Yeah.
that's probably what she's doing. I know that's what I do. I'll be in the mood to socialize. I think a guy seems fun for a second, and then I realize I have to get out of bed and put on pants.
No, that's how I felt about tonight.
Say, never mind. So I think, you know, it could be a fickle thing, but I didn't understand if he was saying he was trying to reschedule with them at all, like, or not.
It sounds like he kind of was, but he's like half-assing it a little bit and maybe like sheepishly saying, well, do you want to go grab lunch another time?
Was he saying no? Like, was she like, hey, want to go get lunch? And he said, no, I can't. And then
He was
then
busy.
he never ended up going.
And she replied with, damn, I wanted to get some good food.
I want to try that new Subway salad.
They have grapes in it now. Exactly, they were super excited. I think the same thing as Mike. I think she was just like, I'm hungry, do you want to go with me? It is kind of strange because they don't work in the same section at work, and why is she reaching out to him? Most likely, if she is into him, she's not going to suddenly reach out and be that confident to then say, do you want to, I don't know, maybe, I'm in my 30s, so maybe like millennials are like that now, where they're more assertive as women, going up to guys that they actually like. But I would say to Mike, if this is happening to you constantly, then I would try to make more of an effort to get to know those people at work so that plans to go out at lunchtime or after work happen a little bit more naturally, and she's more inclined to say yes to going out with you. I don't
And
really
I
see anything that...
guarantee if you bring her to anything above a Subway, she's yours.
She's all over you.
You take her to a Popeyes? Oh my god.
She'll be in heaven. That'll be amazing. Okay, next question. Hi, Marni, Kristen, and guests. First of all, love the podcast. Marni, you are great, making the conversation productive. And Kristen, you have me laughing each podcast. My question is, what do you do to get into an approaching and social mindset? I myself have suffered with depression and anxiety for years now. I'm 23 now and started as a teenager. It can make you feel the worst and not good enough for anyone, but that is for me to deal with for myself. I'm asking the question because at times when I am more myself and I've gotten talking to girls I do well, it's just getting into the mindset of approaching and being social that can be a struggle. What are some of the ways you recommend? Do yourself or have heard of that would get you into a social mood and feeling good to approach? Something that knocks you out of your head and lets you be confident. I have read about your rubber band technique, which I'm trying, but was looking for others as well because I keep forgetting the rubber bands or they stretch out and fall. Keep up doing your great work. Connor from Ireland.
I need to know what.
Connor, there's a little thing called Adderall. It's amazing for socializing. Not that I've ever tried it, but that's my recommendation.
That's your recommendation. What about you?
I need to know what the rubber band technique is.
So that's my technique. So I used to be very shy, very uncomfortable, and I mean I still have one on my wrist right now, but when I used to have high anxiety and great discomfort in social settings, I would just snap this on my wrist for me to get out of my head and get back into my body so that I could actually relax. And that was my technique for getting out of my head and helping me remember, okay, whatever it is that I need to do, like whether it's relax or be comfortable or talk to somebody, if I can get out of my head and into my body, then I can move forward with that. And now I just have it here, also put my hair up, or to just, as a reminder to myself to be more comfortable. But there are certain times where I do get really nervous in a social setting, and I will snap my rubber band. So that is very helpful for a lot of things. It's also helpful to motivate you. So there were times as well where there were things that I wanted to do. If I wanted to go and approach somebody, I would say 1, 2, 3, snap, and then I had to do it.
Okay.
And it was good. So one thing that's really wonderful, and we've talked about this on our show before, to get you practicing conversation. So I always say to work your conversation muscle. So if you're about to go on a date or go interact with people socially, you want to park your car or drop yourself off from the Uber, like, I sound like my mother right now, the Uber, like 3 blocks away, and then as you're getting to where you have to go, say hi to everybody, talk to them, wave, play around with your body language to loosen yourself up so you can get your conversation muscle going, and you're in a great place, and then when you get there, you'll be worked up and ready to go.
Oh, that's great. I mean, I would say, as a person who struggles with anxiety and depression, the thing that works a lot for me, I mean, I did it before this show, tonight, before any show. I mean, I do a lot of like mindfulness meditation, and a lot of folks think like meditation's like this big hippy dippy like Raji whatever the fuck thing. But
It's 2018.
yeah, there's tons of like apps out there. Headspace is the app that I use, and it's great. I mean, and that's more for, I mean, whether it's like your romantic life or like your professional life or anything of that, I think, you know, doing a meditation practice, and the thing to remember about meditation is like, it's a practice. It's something you have to do like month after month, after year after year.
What does it do for you?
What does it do for me? I mean, it tends to just help me like live in the present, try and be here now, all that fun stuff. But, you know, not worry about like, if we're talking about dating and stuff, like if I'm going on a date or something, being like, oh my God, is this girl gonna like me? What if she doesn't like me? What happens if we break up 6 months from now? Oh my God, whatever, things like that.
Would your brain go there before?
Oh, I'm a fucking neurotic mess, you know? I think about every possible situation all the time, but meditation helps to just like right now, sitting on the stage. I'm just here sitting on the stage.
Really? Before you did this, what do you want?
I mean, I'd be like freaking out and be like, what if this podcast comes out and like my voice sounds weird and everyone hates me and they're like, that was the worst guest that Ash Women's ever had on the podcast.
I mean, so
Like
far
that.
you are the worst guy.
Oh, great. And that's literally the worst thing that could happen tonight. Is me
See
being
how
the
calm
worst
you
guy.
are
Yeah.
and knowing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The meditation's obviously working.
Yeah. So meditate. And therapy's great too. Everyone should be in therapy. Even if you don't think you need it.
I think everybody should be in
Yeah.
therapy. Like at least 3 therapists.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very beneficial for everybody.
Yeah.
Kristen needs 4 therapists.
But I can't afford for therapy.
Right. That's why you have the Adderall.
Exactly. And that's kind of expensive too. You have to pick and choose.
That's true. It's like, which one should I choose? Do we have more time for one more?
Let's do one more.
Okay, we have one more question. Namaste. Oh, somebody who doesn't know.
Namaste.
Marni and Kristen, thank you for this amazing podcast. It has helped me more than I can describe. You can find me on Insta at Von I'm 30 and I have lagged behind my peers financially and educationally, but in self-awareness and inner wisdom development, I have thrived. I'm an artist and I write books and teach classes. I have a very fulfilling job serving people with developmental disabilities as a mentor. That's amazing. I do art on the side and listen to many entrepreneurial podcasts. I'm an atypical man. On the Kinsey scale, I'm right in the middle, and just like a person's race, I try not to see their sex. I have had many, that's why he's writing into us, I have had many gay and trans friends, and I consider myself queer because of how open I am to anything. I used to be a very sexually closed person, but my masculine features helped me to get women who wanted a big, strong man. These relationships failed after I couldn't keep up the strongman act and continue to only have sex from a masculine perspective. I am a sensitive guy and very much in touch with my femininity. I can manifest both energies, and yes, I do enjoy dating men too, but women are my absolute passion. I love and worship the female form. In fact, I am embarrassed to be a man at this point in our collective history, but I am helping to set the bar for a new evolution of masculinity. My question is, how do you find a woman who wants to play both roles, who is seeking a man in this mindset? A man can be either energies. Thank you. How does he, Vanum, find somebody who's open?
I mean, I think, you know, you just present yourself as you are. Like, what's their name? Vanum. You have value at 100% as you are, and I think finding that person is just going to be, like, you don't have to search that long, as long as that's the person that you present yourself to be to the world. Like, if as you're going on these dates, you don't have to, like, if you start off, if people fall in love with the version of you that's like this hyper masculine, and then you show your true self, then it could be a bit like, whoa, where the fuck did this person come from? But from the get-go, if you show your true self to your partner and things like that, then, you know, it shouldn't be that tough to...
I agree with you. I'm very attracted to people who own whatever it is that they want to be. And I've even found myself with certain... I'm very into men. I could be open to women, but I am mostly very open to men. And the men that I have been with and dated and had relationships with, at certain points, if they were to like come to me and say like, well, I've got this fetish where I like to do this, this, and this. If you had asked me before I started dating them if I would have been into that, I probably would say, no freaking way. I don't want to like kids' bums or something. I don't even know what their fetish would be. But I could be I would actually be more open to it because I would be into that person and I would see that as an extension of our relationship. I wouldn't dislike it as much.
Right, and I wouldn't say on a first date, don't be like, I'm into fucking submarine sandwiches. Like, you lead up there.
But honestly, I'd be like, well, let's give it a go.
Right.
Kristen, what do you think about that?
Well, I think there's so many websites for everything that you
Okay, there's
can
so
find.
many forums,
People
exactly.
find it online. I hate to just like make him become a hermit and not socialize in the world, but I think you could start there and start the
Yeah.
dialogue, right?
Yeah, I think so, 100%.
And also Adderall.
Right.
And Adderall.
Exactly. And that is a perfect place to end the show in saying that we should be open to everything like ourselves and present that person to other people, and then they can take in what they want if they want it. But Mike, thank you very much for being
Thank
here.
you so much
To
for
the
having me.
podcast. That was great. Our show is called Ask Women, and yeah, and thanks for coming to watch this.
Thank you. Give it up for Ask Women. Yeah, bye, Kristen. Say bye to Kristen.
Thank you, Chase Berman.
Yeah. I got it. Thanks. I tried to meditate before the show today too, but ended up just falling asleep for 2 hours, so I need to work on that.
Yeah, that was great. I think I learned a lot. Did you learn a lot?
Yeah, but you know, dating's it's not a science, you know.
It's true, it's not.
You know what is a science though?
What's that?
Podcasting. And I got a hypothesis about this one. It's going pretty well, don't you think, Kurt? Yeah.
Yeah, I think the hypothesis would agree.
Yeah, but there's only one way to prove it. It's to keep it going, keep the podcast party going.
Let's keep it going.
And it just so happens we got a science podcast.
Do we?
Yeah, a little coincidence. We got Dave Ciaccio, I'm probably mispronouncing it, and Jesse Arlen Klein. They have a podcast called Science AF, where they talk about science. Science as fuck. Give it up for Science AF. Science as fuck.
Science AF.
I made this theme song. Can you kick it up?
Yeah.
Science AF.
All right.
Science AF.
Science AF. Science as fuck.
Welcome to Science AF, everybody. I'm your host, Dave Ciaccio, and I'm Science AF as fuck. Wait, I fucked it up already.
Yeah, man.
Can we go back?
I'm your host, Jesse Arlen Klein. I am science as fuck.
What's up, Pack Theater? How's everybody doing? We are a comedy podcast about science.
Yeah, Dave and I both have backgrounds in science. Dave has a degree in it. I have a dropout in it.
And we both remember nothing of it.
And so we do a comedy podcast where we bring up articles in the science community over the last few years, and we go through them, and sometimes we talk about science, sometimes we just riff on them, do some riffs.
Sometimes we just go on a tangent and never talk about anything.
Yeah, that's true. And we have a very special guest.
We do. We have a special guest with us, as we always do. Today's guest is a writer for The Detour on TBS, right? And on the Pack House team called Rat Queen.
Yep.
Stephanie Striesand, welcome to the show. Sure, and you teach a class here. What, if you're in the LA area, if any of you are ever in the LA area,
If you ever visit.
what is the class that you teach?
I teach pilot structure and pilot writing. So if you want help writing a pilot,
David had a pilot's license at one point.
I did.
For writing pilots.
Oh,
I could fly a plane, and I've written pilots as well, neither of which has ever made me any money.
Or taken off.
Solid pilot joke.
Yeah.
And Stephanie, you also have a master's in the subject that we want to talk about today, which is forensic psychology.
Yeah, I feel like everything you've said so far has been guessing. Like, today you were like, and today's guest is Stephanie Striesand.
Honestly, we should all be very proud of Dave for pronouncing your name correctly.
I'm camera shy from getting it wrong every time.
I always set you up too. I know how to pronounce all the names, and I never do it.
Just leave me out here.
Yeah.
To dangle.
Yeah, man.
So Stephanie, you're have a science background, is that right?
Forensic psychology. I have a master's. I went to Hofstra for psychology, and then went to John Jay of criminal justice for forensic psychology.
What is it, John Jay? What is that?
John Jay, it's in New York City, and it's like the place to go if you want to study forensics or forensic psychology.
It's the Juilliard of forensic psychology.
Yeah.
Do a lot of people...
I went to John Jay.
I will say, I did pass by quite a few auditions for mock trials.
Oh, yeah. Do a lot of people do forensic psychology in the subways for spare change? Solve a case for you?
I'll tell you why you're feeling that way.
So we looked up some articles. The one that caught our attention that we were already sort of talking about backstage is about eyewitness information.
Yeah.
There's the eyewitness information has always been sort of like questionably reliable, I guess. This new study shows that the researchers were able to basically control the people they were questioning by doing hand signals. If they said something like, describe the guy who stole the purse, and they did something like this gesture, the person would start by saying they had a watch, whether they had it or not.
Yeah.
And if the researchers tapped their head when they said, what was the guy wearing, then they would say he was wearing a hat.
Hair.
Or wasn't a hat.
God.
And those people were doing it on purpose. And I think what that experiment really shows is that cops may unintentionally be showing tells when interviewing witnesses.
Yeah.
So
if the cops are dancing when they're questioning the person, then they'll think that the perpetrator was a dancer.
Unintentionally.
dancing.
They don't realize it.
If they're filleting up a fish while they're questioning people, they'll think it was a chef.
Or it was a fish.
Or the fish. The fish did it up.
I was robbed by a grouper. That's really interesting. So, because we've read a lot of articles about like how DNA evidence is also not as like concrete as we once thought it was.
So is any evidence worth anything?
I mean, I know lie detectors for a fact. You can just throw those away as well.
Yeah, the way lie detectors work is you have to believe that they work for it to work.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay. And it's also an interrogation.
It's like the Costanza thing. If you believe the lie, you can lie.
Yeah. George Costanza famously invented the lie detector.
Right.
And Wonder Woman.
Science.
He invented Wonder Woman and the lie detector.
Well, it's like those people that take a placebo and they're like, oh my god, I feel so much better already.
Yeah. And the placebo effect, the crazy thing is, even if you tell the person, this is a placebo I'm giving you, it's only sugar and it won't do anything, they will feel better.
Yeah.
That's been studied too.
The act of taking medicine makes you feel better.
And they'll dig their heels in. They're like, well, then maybe I had low blood sugar. Maybe that helped me.
Sugar is all I needed.
I was crashing.
So we can't believe any of our recollections, memories, thoughts, or ideas.
You heard it here. Burn the courts down. Everyone go out there, find a cop car, light it on fire.
Free the prisons.
We have to. It is your civic duty.
Well, you can believe your memories 54% of the time.
Ooh, that's not a very settling number.
For the people at home, Stephanie just got serious and pulled out a sheet of paper with research.
I was so
Independent
scared,
research.
So scared.
Because
Followers would be like, I thought you said you brought on an expert.
Excuse me, I think it's 53 prisons.
Yeah.
Guys, Stephanie's one of the most calm and cocky people on stage I've ever seen, and she was backstage going over her college highlighted notes and stuff like that.
That's right. I wrote notes. I'm on stage now, so I'm gonna be cocky about it.
Anytime she does comedy, she studies for an hour backstage. With you have a textbook back there. It's your forensic psychology.
I was so nervous. I was like, oh, I gotta do a refresher. Oh my god, fuck, this book is so fucking big. How am I gonna know? And then I turn to a page and it's highlighted. It's like eyewitness testimony. What are the percentages? Why is it right, wrong, this, that? I was like, oh my god, past me was so nice.
College Stephanie did such a good job preparing for this podcast.
Now, Stephanie, we know our audience.
Yeah, my parents are really happy that I'm using this info.
We know our audience is full of geniuses and they know almost everything.
Yeah.
But just in case a child has turned on this podcast, do you want to break down what forensic psychology is and just at its very core?
Forensic psychology is the psychology of forensics.
Okay, I think we got it. All right, good. That's a podcast, folks.
You pass on to your doctorate.
Thank you.
Is that what they teach you at John Jay?
Yeah. No, but it's the study of psychology. There's all different areas of psychology that you can study, and this is more of a study on criminology mixed with psychology. So I would study things like eyewitness testimony, things that have to do with court cases, criminal cases, anything surrounding that. Profiling, criminal profiling. It's that's the way they recruit. They're like, hey, you like reading about serial killers? We do a whole just 1 week on it. Come on.
Just 1 week.
It makes it when I first got into it, I was like, it's gonna be all about that, and it's like, no, it's actually much broader.
Yeah. Is that how they catch serial killers? Do more of them tend to take serial killer classes?
Yeah.
Do you think serial killers listen to real crime podcasts more?
I'm in this study. Some serial killers have been found with books about other serial killers, just as John Hinckley, who tried to kill Ronald Reagan, was found with
American Hero.
A bunch of stuff on.
Which one of them?
on past American assassins, just loads of books. So I mean, they kind of some will study out each other and then some won't.
Steve Martin's books on my bookshelf because I wanted to be
famous serial killer.
Right, it's the same thing. It's like if you look at it like a business.
I'm the same as a serial killer. You're right.
It's like a hobby career, you know.
So these kind of micro suggestions that you can do physically. I mean, those aren't even micro. Those are pretty macro suggestions, like grabbing your wrist. And stuff like that.
They
were specifically
They were
doing it.
overt about it.
Yeah.
But I suppose your facial expressions, your eye gaze, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like think about psychics. I don't know if people believe in psychics, but most psychics.
Well, I know people do believe in psychics.
Right.
What did they teach you at John Jay about psychics?
But basically, they do cold calling. They read your faces. They read your tells that you don't even know that you're giving. But even though they're a master at it, the average person also picks up on some of those things. So if your body language, or if a police officer's body language is like sitting back as somebody's telling you something, you're like, oh, I'm doing something right. Like I'm giving the information that goes with the information he has or she has. I'm doing great. But because everybody goes in a witness will go in to be helping the police. They want to do a good job.
Yeah.
They don't want to fuck it up, and they feel like, for instance, in a lineup, if they don't see the person, they feel like they fucked up.
Oh, yeah. So they would want that confirmation bias of like, no, it was that person, just because they
So
would
they
be
tend to
helpful.
Pick out somebody just so they don't fail the test.
So in the movie The Usual Suspects,
Yeah.
that is an accurate depiction of a lineup.
Oh, yes. All looking extremely different.
Yeah.
And all there for the same crime.
Yeah.
And it turned out Kevin Spacey was the criminal all along.
Spoilers! God damn it!
I mean, that's a spoiler from life.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Here's a new thing that kind of fascinated me. I don't know if it's not really about psychology, but they can now fingerprint you by your microbial cloud. And that means that, like, if you go in and you commit a crime in a room, they can vacuum the microbes in the room and I guess vacuum your microbes and compare them and make a positive identification that you were in that room.
It's hard being a serial killer these days.
I know. It's getting harder and harder to
I just
murder wantonly.
I just downloaded that new YouTube album off my microbial cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a virus.
Yeah, I didn't want it. It was just there. That's really interesting. So, like, just because we're constantly just putting out microbes all the time.
Yeah.
Because there are dust mites that are eating our skin and pooping out what they've eaten and are just laying it all over the place.
And do you think they're just farting out?
Yeah, I think it's a
There's a
projection.
million microbes farting out of your face at all times.
Yeah, constantly.
Creating a
That's just specifically mine. I could never commit a crime.
more than most.
Yeah, my cloud, very big. But so it's just like one of those things where now they're just going to be able to vacuum a room and be able to tell you who was in that room.
I could argue that, though.
Yeah, because it's the same thing with DNA evidence, where it's like there's so much out there.
They'll probably throw it out later.
Yeah.
It's also like, oh, well, you know what? I licked a man's face who went into that room.
Right,
And
well,
that's how my DNA.
That's how you get away with it.
Well,
Lick everyone's
ma'am,
face.
we're the lick police, so you have committed a crime.
We gotta wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Stephanie. We
Thanks
can
for
talk
having
about
me.
this for much longer.
Oh, God, I didn't need to research at all. This is great.
Is there any other research that you put in that you want to get out there?
Just something interesting?
The stuff that's interesting about Eyewitness.
Yeah, like just give us one of your favorites. Give us a highlight.
Well, it's not until 1993 did people realize that eyewitnesses wanted to do a good job in the lineup, to the point where they did a study where they'd have people in the room and in a box they'd say like, oh, maybe the culprit isn't even there. And 54% of people got it right, and 21% saw that little box and was like, oh, but it's not there. So then they said it wasn't there, and everybody else got it wrong. So only 54% of people got it right. Then they did a second test where they took away the culprit, but they didn't replace the culprit. And with the guy not there, only 32% of people said the culprit was not there. So they named
So most people
somebody
named
else.
someone.
So they just wanted to name someone.
They just want to be right.
Yeah.
Good.
And it turned out it was Kevin Spacey.
Yeah. Burn all the
Thanks for
cameras.
thanks for listening. Do you wanna so your show is called The Detour.
Yeah, The Detour on TBS. I'm a staff writer on that show. It's created by Jason Jones and Samantha Bee, and it's funny. It's like kind of like National Lampoon's Vacation, except it takes a detour.
Ooh.
Are they in it?
Detour.
Jason and Samantha, are they in the show?
Jason Jones is in it,
Oh.
and Samantha Bee and Jason Jones co-created it together.
Are they as cute in person as they are?
They're really cute.
Yeah. All right, guys. This was Science AF. Thank you so
You
much.
can hit that
for
music.
Science
Thanks
AF.
very much.
Thank you.
You can find us at scienceafpod.com.
Science AF. All right, give it up for Science AF.
That was AF.
That was AF, and looks like we don't have time for that Q&A, unfortunately.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that. But thanks for coming out. That's the show. Podcast Party episode 2. Give it up for Modelo. Thank you, Modelo. Shout out. Shout out to Tech Booth. Shout out to Kurt.
Curtis,
Kurt, yeah. Alright, you can hit that closing song. You guys can walk out and listen to this.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Podcast party. Oh, wow. Okay. Little 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 podcast party.